What's up everyone? I am back with another video. I hope everyone is having a great weekend so far. This is a video that I've been wanting to make for a while, so I'm glad I've gotten to this point now. I'm still a little on the sick side, so bear with me. I think I might have that C word, and no, I'm not talking about chlamydia or cancer, but the one that ends with the number 19. Been very short of breath for about a week or so, and I've been feeling very weird. I'm too much of a baby to stick a swab up my own nose, so someone has to do it for me. However, despite all that, I am well enough to make this video. Anyway, I just want to do a short update on the puppies right quick. They are doing good. They are getting big. They are 4 months old now, or at least they will be in a couple days on the 27th. For those who haven't seen it already, I posted a YouTube short yesterday or the day before yesterday, or whatever time you may see this. But I posted a YouTube short of them where I walked outside to the backyard to discover they had mauled a raccoon. It was so gruesome that I had to blur the video. They tore that thing to shreds. Its guts were all out everywhere. Its face and body was so mangled that I couldn't even identify what type of animal it was at first. These puppies are some bloodthirsty savages, and I'm going to have my hands full when they get older. I will have my next obedience training video of them uploaded on the channel, hopefully within the next couple days. They did really good at the last training session I did with them earlier this week. I was very impressed. They're getting along with the program very well. So for anybody that's new, I originally started this channel for it to be a computer tech related, hacking related channel. But as some of you may have seen, I've been branching out and trying other things, and I would like to do that again today, or right now with this video. I'm still working on the AI voiceover videos. That's a big learning curve on learning how to use that technology and the software, but the AI videos are on my list. They are in the pipeline. There are a few video ideas that I want to try, and I will tell you about one of them at the end of this video. But I can tell you I really like making these videos, and I'm getting better at the editing process with each video that I make. Alright, so let's jump into it. Today's video is about ancient history, actually ancient prehistory, and why I believe that the timeline that we are taught about civilizations is not accurate. I'm going to show you some places you may have never seen of or heard of before, partly because they don't fit the mainstream timeline of history that we've been taught. They contradict the current accepted timeline of history. And we're going to go into the first part here. Now, we are taught that the first civilization were the Sumerians of the Fertile Crescent area, which is basically modern day Iraq. The entire Fertile Crescent area basically encompass parts of Egypt, Palestine, Israel, Lebanon, northern Syria, southern Turkey, eastern Iraq, and western Iran. Now, the Sumerian civilization is considered and accepted to be the earliest civilization in human history, and it's believed to have begun around 6,000 years ago in 4,000 BC or BCE, whichever one you prefer to use, in the region known as Mesopotamia, in between the Tigris and Euphrates River, once again, which is located in present-day Iraq. As a matter of fact, Sumer, which is also known as, is still on the map and is still inhabited till this very day, and it's located right in Baghdad. The Sumerians were known for their advanced cities, complex systems of writing, impressive architecture, and contributions to agriculture and the development of early forms of government and religion. One thing that I was concerned about with the Iraq war was all the ancient Sumerian art, the sculptures, and etc. that was centered in Iraq. That stuff getting destroyed during the war, which did happen. But a lot of the Sumerian artifacts were actually stolen during the war, and they were like hustled on the black market. And who knows where a lot of that stuff is now. But I will say a lot of it has been returned as well. So that's good to hear, because that's a real important part of our history. But the Sumerians were amazing people. They invented a form of writing before the Egyptians and their hieroglyphics. Now, their form of writing was known as cuneiform. However, my thing is, when it's said that the Sumerians were the first civilization, that's where we have a problem. There are things that do not add up to the official timeline as far as human civilizations. So I'm going to present to you evidence of the existence of civilizations that are thousands of years older than the Sumerians. Now, how do we know that civilizations predate the Sumerians actually existed? Well, just like the Sumerians, we look at what they left behind. Now, the Sumerians were famous or infamous for their ziggurats, which were like, I don't want to say they were like pyramid type structures, but they were of that same type of architecture, and they were really amazing, really advanced for the time. However, I would like to show you structures older than the pyramids, older than Stonehenge, and even older than the Sumerian ziggurats. And these structures, or what we call monolithic or megalithic sites, are just as elaborate and amazing as the Egyptian pyramids and the Sumerian ziggurats. Some are even more complex than those, as you will see later on in this video. There are a lot of these amazing ancient sites all over the world, but I had to limit myself to like 5 or 6 of what I believe to be the most significant sites. I tell you what, if I get good views on this video, because I'm still hoping to produce that video that's going to catch the buzz, that's going to kind of go semi-viral, or get some good numbers. If I get good views on this video, I am willing to make a series about the other sites around the world, because there are a lot of them that most people don't even know about. Like I said, I'm still trying to make that video that will pop off and possibly go viral and get tons of views, but I'm patient, and hopefully I'll get there one day. The other thing that I want to show you in this video is that many of these ancient civilizations were a lot more intelligent than they are credited to be. Many of these ancient places built structures more complex and elaborate than the pyramids, and we today would have a hard time duplicating what they did. There is one site that we absolutely cannot duplicate what those ancient people accomplished, as we do not have the technology or the machinery to do so. Okay, so the first place I want to start with is known as the sunken city of Dwarka, and is located off the coast of India. The sunken city of Dwarka is a legendary city that is said to be basically located off the coast of, I don't want to butcher this name, but Gujarat, India. According to Hindu mythology, Dwarka was the capital of Lord Krishna's kingdom and was believed to be submerged by the sea after his death. So in the late 1980s, underwater archaeological investigations were carried out by the Marine Archaeology Unit of the National Institute of Oceanography, which is I guess is called Goa. And this submerged city was discovered off the coast of Dwarka. The city was found to be spread over an area of 40,000 square meters, which is about 10 acres, and is believed to have been submerged for over 1,500 years. Now, the jury's still out on exactly how old this place is, but the oldest estimate of this place is around 9,000 years old. All right, we're just getting started. All right, so this next place is amazing, and it absolutely blows my mind. This site is known as Baalbek Temple. Did I say that? Baalbek Temple, and is located in Baalbek, Lebanon. What you're looking at, these are the largest stone blocks ever to be used for construction. They are the size of a city bus. Actually, I think they're actually bigger than your standard city bus. And they weigh 800 tons each. 800 tons is slightly more than 2 million pounds. That is unbelievable. They took these massive blocks and they moved them and stacked them whole to create a foundation. They did not cut these blocks into sections. They were moved whole as you see them. This is beyond amazing because to my knowledge, we do not have the technology or the machinery today to move something that heavy, but they did it over 2,000 years ago. Once again, the jury is still out on exactly how old this site is, but here's what we do know. We do know that when the Romans came and conquered this area around 250 BC, this place was already there. The Romans even built a temple on top of the massive stone blocks, and that temple is called the Temple of Jupiter, where Jupiter was the Romans' main god. Now, some archaeologists say that the Greeks basically crafted these stones and built this place. But I can't accept that, because despite the fact of how amazing the Greeks were at building structures, there is no evidence of the Greeks using stones that massive anywhere else, not even in Greece. Some archaeologists say that the site was built by the Phoenicians as a temple to worship their main god known as Baal, which is why that place is called Baalbek Temple. That theory is more acceptable because the Phoenicians are one of the original civilizations of the Fertile Crescent area. They're not quite as old as the Sumerians, but still very old. They came maybe a few decades, maybe a couple hundred years after the Sumerians. But whoever built this site, they had knowledge of things that we don't have today, and that is apparent. I personally believe that all this ancient advanced knowledge, as far as all this construction, the things they were doing, all this ancient knowledge was lost due to these ancient civilizations being wiped out by natural disasters, war, and disease and pestilence. I believe that a large amount of this ancient knowledge of things we can't do today was actually archived at the Library of Alexandria in Egypt, and the subsequent burning down of that library caused all of that ancient knowledge and education to be lost to us. Who knows how that knowledge could have benefited us today? I will go ahead and say it. This is one issue that I have with organized religion, because it was an organized religion that burned down the Library of Alexandria. It is speculated that either the Muslims or the Christians burned down the Library of Alexandria because all that knowledge about science, architecture, math, and etc. didn't fit their religious narratives. Alright, so let's move on to the next area. And this is another amazing site. This is two sites together because they're close together. This place is known as Gobekli Tepe and Karahan Tepe. Gobekli Tepe and Karahan Tepe are two archaeological sites located in southeastern Turkey. Once again, this is still in that Fertile Crescent area. They are about 30 miles apart from each other. As it stands, they are the oldest man-made monolithic ancient structures that we know of so far, and the jury's not out on these places anymore. They date all the way back to 9,000 BC, which was 11,000 years ago. Some say 12. The numbers argue, but anywhere from 11 to 12,000 years ago is the consensus. That is 5 to 6,000 years before the existence of the first civilization of the Sumerians. This site is amazing. Gobekli Tepe and Karahan Tepe, they contain several stone circles with these T-shaped pillars. Some of them stand up to like 20 feet tall. The structures were likely used for religious or ceremonial purposes, which is why the site is referred to as the world's oldest temple. Karahan Tepe, which I said is about 30 miles northwest of Gobekli Tepe, is a more recent discovery that also features the same T-shaped pillars and other stone structures. While it's not as well known as Gobekli Tepe, and Karahan Tepe is still being explored by archaeologists. Now, despite the fact that archaeologists have been uncovering these sites since the mid-1990s, only a small percentage of these sites have actually been unearthed so far, and it would take years to a couple more decades to possibly uncover these entire sites. That's how massive they are. And here's the thing. By looking at the complexity and the massive size of these sites, this took a civilization to build. These are people who stayed in one spot and farmed to feed their population, as it took years to build these sites. 11,000 years ago, according to mainstream history, would have put them back into the Neolithic hunter-gatherer period, basically like the caveman days. These sites were not created by hunter-gatherers who had to stay on the move all the time and go from place to place to keep up with animals they had to hunt. To my knowledge, hunter-gatherers did not farm. They stayed on the hunt. They kept moving. These sites would have taken a lot of people working together with plans and coordination for years. The existence of these two sites proves that civilization is far older than what's being currently accepted about the Sumerians being the first civilization. As I stated, this site is at least 5 to 6,000 years older than Sumeria. Okay, now let's move on to another ancient site on the other side of the world, closer to us, right here in North America. Alright, so in Mexico, there was a civilization that was older and predated the Aztecs and the ancient Mayans. We call these people the Olmecs. We don't know that much about them, but just like every other ancient civilization, they left something behind for us to marvel at. According to mainstream history, the Olmecs flourished between 1400 and 400 BC. I personally think they are older than that, but there isn't any evidence to support that belief at this time. The Olmecs left behind all these, they left behind a ton of artifacts, but in particular, the ones that really stick out are these large head statues. These head statues are made from basalt and are about 4 feet tall and weigh about 20 tons or about 40,000 pounds each. Now, I want you to notice the features on some of the faces of these head statues. A few of those statues have facial features of people of African and Asian descent, which opens up a whole different series of questions. So it is, of my opinion, either this civilization came into contact with people from Africa and Asia, or they originated from Africa and or Asia. Alright, so the penultimate place that I want to discuss is still in the kind of early speculation stage, but there is a lot of circumstantial evidence for it. This site doesn't have any monoliths, statues, or relics or artifacts, but it still has significance. And if the speculation about this place turns out to be accurate, that is going to really change the human history timeline, more so than Gobekli Tepe. So our next location is in Western Africa, near the country of Mauritania, and this place is called the Richat Structure, or otherwise known as the Eye of the Sahara. Alright, so here's the thing. This site has a lot of circumstantial evidence to suggest that this may be the location for the lost city of Atlantis. Now look, I know some of you might be thinking that I'm going off the deep end now, that I'm being one fry short of a happy meal. I get it. I've watched a lot of videos and documentaries where people have made claims about discovering Atlantis, and I have dismissed all of them because of the weak evidence associated with them. However, this location is different. It has the same three centrifugal circles as Atlantis. It lets out to the ocean just as Atlantis did. In the satellite images, you can see where there is salt covering most of that area. Well, where do you get that amount of salt from? How about the ocean or the sea? There is evidence that suggests that this place was flooded out by the Mediterranean Sea. That the Mediterranean Sea flooded very high and just swept over portions of Africa. And so that water kind of maintained there because this Richat structure is actually lower than its surrounding area. That water sat there and evaporated over thousands of years, and the salt from that seawater is what remains. There is so much evidence supporting this possibly being Atlantis that I would have to make an entire video about it alone. Instead, I would suggest that you get the evidence from the person who compiled all of this evidence in the first place. His name is Jimmy Corsetti. This is my guy. He just doesn't know it because we don't know each other. But anyway, he has a YouTube channel called Bright Insight, where he is very deep into ancient sites and ancient history and has tons of knowledge about this subject. I would highly suggest that you watch his video about the Rayshot structure and see the amount of evidence he presents, because it is overwhelming. That's all I can say. I will leave a link to his video in the description, so by all means check him out. But don't leave me for Jimmy, please. I know he's pretty handsome, but I still have great content coming, so you can watch both of us. I don't mind sharing, not at all. Alright, so the last place that I will just touch on briefly, just to kind of go down the conspiracy hole right quick. Our final destination is Antarctica. I'll let you be the judge of this, because I don't know, and I don't like to speculate unless there is a certain high degree of evidence for that speculation. But this place has definitely sparked my curiosity. There are 3 pyramid-shaped structures in Antarctica that are kind of laid out in the same formation as the 3 main pyramids in Giza, Egypt. So we're talking about the Great Pyramid and the 2 smaller pyramids next to it. They are laid out to resemble the Orion's Belt constellation. Now, these could be natural mountain formations. That's totally possible. That's totally in the realm of possibility. But they could be something else. I just wish someone would go down there and verify it, because there is a lot of similarities here. Now, I would go find out myself if I had the resources. As a native Minnesotan, I could probably tolerate the weather in Antarctica long enough to find something out. Well, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that comment button, and hit that subscribe button. Hit all those buttons. I do generally respond to many comments, and even if I get big on YouTube, I will still be in the comments section engaging with my subscribers and the people who watch my videos. I would like to get some feedback from you all about what kind of videos you would like to see from me, because I have a variety of interests that I have yet to cover. Those of you who have been with me since I started this channel back in January have seen me cover a few different topics, such as hacking, scams, Android and iOS apps, dog training, local Omaha history. I got a video of me singing about being a toilet, and now we can add ancient history onto the list. Okay, so I would like to know what y'all think about this. I would like to do a conspiracy theory type video about the assassinations of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, because most people don't know that all types of things have happened and new evidence has come out. One premise that has been established is that the people who were convicted of killing these two men were not the actual killers, and I will prove that if or when I make that video. I'm not really a huge fan of conspiracy theories, but I do pay attention to the ones that have a lot of empirical or circumstantial evidence around them, and the assassinations of these two men have lots of evidence to counter the mainstream narrative. For example, most people don't even realize that the two men that were convicted of killing Malcolm X were recently exonerated and released from prison just about a year or two ago. Actually, one of the guys died in prison, but the other one that survived, he's been released from prison, and if I'm not mistaken, he also was awarded, I believe, like a $14 million settlement with the state of New York for that wrongful conviction. I'd have to look it up, but I know it was multi-millions of dollars for that wrongful conviction. And so my thing is this: they were falsely convicted of his murder. So 58 years later, we're right back at square one. Who killed Malcolm X? And what was the motive behind his assassination? The situation is the same with the assassination of Martin Luther King as well. And I guess since I spoke on it, I should start gathering my evidence to make a video on this. Now that will probably be the only conspiracy theory type video that I will do, because a little tidbit of information about myself: I am what you call a skeptic. I don't really believe in like the over-the-top conspiracy theories like the New World Order, the deep state, and all that. And I don't believe in aliens or gods unless there's significant empirical or circumstantial evidence to support them. I have a high standard of evidence before I am willing to believe or accept something as true or real, and I believe everyone should have that same standard. Now, here's the thing, but I'm not going to shit on people because they believe in things that I don't believe, but I'm always open to having a rational, intelligent debate or discussion on these subjects. Now, that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up now. I wish y'all have a great rest of wonderful rest of your weekend. I'm gonna work on trying to get more well. Like I said, if I had to give you a number, maybe about like 65% well, about 45% sick, but I still got the rest of the weekend to recoup. So have a good weekend, y'all, and I will see y'all soon with the next video. Peace out. I'm out.